Welcome back. Let's continue with exploiting our Metasploitable machine. So, we already found 3 vulnerabilities regarding Telnet, FTP, and the bind shell with no authentication. Let us see what else can we find. And what I got in mind for now is this Samba open port right here. Matter of fact, these 2 open ports 139 and 445. Why them? Well, because it seems that we do not have the exact version of Samba right here. It tells us that Samba is between 3 point something to 4 point something. So let's see how we will figure out what exploit to use and how to find it. Here's a small hint. We don't need to Google it to be able to find it. We have everything we need right here in Kali Linux. So don't use Google to find it since it is cheating and you will most likely find it on the first link. Let's see whether we can figure it out by ourselves. So right here in our scan, we have this Samba version right here. Not the exact version, but it does give us some information about in between which range does the version belong to. And that is something. We also see that ports hosting this are 139 and 445. So we do got some information. What now? Well, let's just search Samba inside of SearchSploit and see what comes up. So I got this scan right here, I got my MSF console right here, and I will open a third terminal and type SearchSploit Samba. Well, it seems that we get a lot of results. And these are exploits for a bunch of different Samba versions, as we can see right here. Now, we could just try all of them out to see whether they will work, or we can try to figure out the Samba version first, and then narrow down our exploit search and see whether we find something for that specific version. So, how are we going to find out the Samba version? Our Nmap scan didn't manage to do it. Well, luckily, Nmap is not the only scanner that we can use for these types of things. Remember that in Metasploit framework, besides having all of these exploits and payloads, we also get those auxiliary modules. And those auxiliary modules can sometimes be scanners. Let's search and see whether we can find a scanner for this. If we just type in the Metasploit, search Samba, and press enter, we get some of the results right here. Matter of fact, we will get a lot of the results once again. Some are exploits, some are auxiliary modules, and down here I believe there is one post-exploitation module. And if we go to the auxiliary modules, it will only give us 2 auxiliary scanner modules. These aren't the scanners that we need. Let's try to find it ourselves. If I go down here, clear the screen, and type use auxiliary, and then we search for a scanner, and then SMB, because that is the port that we're enumerating, and then tap twice. These are all of the available auxiliary scanners that we have for SMB. The one that we are particularly interested in is this SMB version. So let's copy it. If I copy the entire command, right here, paste it, press enter. Oops, let me just delete this. We type the command twice. So use auxiliary scanner, SMB, and then SMB version. And if I type show info right here, it will tell me in the description display version information about each system. This looks like something that we need. Let's type all of the needed information for this to run. So we're going to type show options first, and we require our hosts. We got some other things as well, but these 3 things are not required, as it says right here. The threads we will leave on 1, and the R hosts will be the IP address of our Metasploitable. In my case, 192.168.1.9. I will set this right here, and if we run it, well, it worked. Even though it says right here host could not be identified, in the brackets we get the exact Samba version on the Metasploitable, which is 3.0.20. Cool. Let's see what we can find from exploits now that we know what version it runs. So I will copy this 3.0.20 and go back to my search exploit, clear the screen and type it once again. Just this time I will paste the entire version. Press enter and we managed to narrow it down to only 5 results. And it seems that these two are the same results, so it's actually 4 results in total. The first one seems to be some type of a security bypass, and it affects our version, since it's between 3.0.10 and 3.3.5. But it also seems to be a txt file, which we really don't want to bother with right now. We want something that we can execute right away. The most interesting thing we have right here is this Samba username map script, or the command execution. Why? Well, it's a Ruby exploit, and it also belongs to Metasploit framework. Plus, it also affects our version of Samba, as we can see right here. These two down here are also txt files, not really interested in, and they also don't seem to actually affect our version. They only affect the versions below our version. And the last one, which is denial of servers or DOS attack, seems to be affecting our version, but we're once again not interested in the denial of service attacks. But in a real penetration test, you would 100% write this on a report with the references to the possible attack. For now, let's just go with the Metasploit module that we found. Let's remember the name, username, map script, command execution. And if I search once again, in my Metasploit, search Samba, let us try to find the exploit that we found using search exploit. If I go up here, go through all of these results, and here it is. Under the 13, exploit multi-Samba, user map, script command execution. This is the same script that we saw right here. Here it is. If I copy the script name, so exploit multi-Samba, user map script, and type right here use, then paste the script name, it will set the default payload to be command Unix reverse netcat. And by the way, this multi right here means that it can be targeted on multiple operating systems. While as if you had only Windows or Linux specified right here, it would mean that only that specific operating system is vulnerable to this attack. So let's show information about this exploit. I will first clear the screen and type show info, and it will tell us this module exploits a command execution vulnerability in Samba versions 3.0.20 through 3.0.25 when using the non-default username map script configuration operation. And if I also set up all of the things that we need, so show options, seems that we need one thing, which is the R host, so let's set it up right away. This is the IP address of Metasploitable. The port right here we do not want to change, since it is already set correctly, as we can see right here, port 139 is running Samba. And down here is our payload, which is the reverse netcat. We set the IP address of our Cal Linux machine here and any port that we want. Once all of this is ready, we can run our exploit. And here it is. We once again got command shell opened on target system using Samba vulnerability. And we can as usual execute commands. If I type who am I, it will tell me we're root. So we're already highest privilege on that machine. Great. This is the fourth vulnerability we found. To close the connection, we can just Ctrl+C this and click on Y. And you would write this down as another successful exploit if this was a real penetration test. In the next video, we're going to cover a different type of the attack that we haven't performed yet, which is brute force attack on port SSH.